more at pimco.com. See, Val, this is all the smiles that you remember from Randy when he was pitching, right?
Oh, yeah, he was always happy on the day he pitched. There was no scowls going on.
What a ceremony it was last night. Randy Johnson weekend continuing today. And retiring his number 51 last night. Our Western Washington Toyota dealers pitching matchup. All right, Chris Bubic is on the mound, pitching very well to begin the season for Kansas City. Meanwhile, Luis Castillo, 6 starts, Val, a 6.35 ERA. We are not used to seeing that kind of number from the Rock.
You know, the Mariners need a bounce back from Luis Castillo in that last start against the Twins. He pitched 5 innings but gave up 7 runs. That ERA over his last 5 starts is 8.06. The good news, though, at home, he likes pitching here. Over the course of 59 starts here at T-Mobile, he's 22-14. That ERA just a 2.92, and he's gone 6 innings or more in 40 of those 59 starts.
Well, he's trying to get things back on track here today, working with Johnny Pareda behind home plate. On the other side, Bubic, an all-star last year, is pitching very well again this season. He's had a couple of starts where he's given up 4 or 5, but other than that, he's been solid.
Well, the Mariners are going to need to be very selective because he's been struggling with the walk. He's got, in his last 3 starts, he's walked 10 batters. That walk rate is just 12.4%. That's 7th worst in baseball. So they need to try to take advantage of the wildness from Bubic.
So that is the pitching matchup here today. The Mariners trying to salvage this 3-game series. The big unit, Randy Johnson, just moments ago throwing out the ceremonial first pitch to his son Tanner. And we are about to get underway. Mariners and the Royals on a Little League Sunday from inside T-Mobile Park. First pitch is coming up next. Mariners TV is brought to you by UW Medicine, the only health system in Washington that directly connects care to a research and learning powerhouse. UW Medicine, a higher degree of health care. By your local Ford dealer, home of the F-150, America's best-selling truck for 49 years. And by Global Credit Union, powering the new Seattle Mariners cashback credit card. Apply for yours at globalcu.org. The kind of day you dream of during those cold, dreary winter months. The sun is out. It is a spectacular day for Mariners baseball inside T-Mobile Park, and a Little League day as well, as the Mariners take the field in their steelhead Sunday uniforms. Well, we got all the Little Leaguers out there, including 7-year-old Arthur in left field from North Lake Little League. Not far from him in center, we're looking at Marcus from Camas Little League. 8-year-old Marcus out there with Julio, soon to join him in center. Off to his left, it's Jax, an 8-year-old Little Leaguer from Alderwood Little League. Yeah, he's having a little fun before he gets some company out there. Leo Rivas, kind enough to sign a quick autograph for Olivia, just 4 years old. Yeah, her career is just getting started. Salmon Creek Little League. How about Amelia? She's running in from getting a ball signed from J.P. Crawford, 6-year-old Amelia from Salmon Creek. Also at second base was Kendrick from Kirkland American Little League. Russell over at North Kitsap Little League representing 12-year-old at first base. And we got to say hello to young Lucy, a JP fan who was behind home plate today. Just 5 years old from Camas Little League. Yeah, memories that they will hold on to for a lifetime. Some autographs signed by everybody, including The Rock, as he gets warmed up and ready to face the Royals today, Val.
Yeah, Castillo's looking to be the stopper here this afternoon and avoid the sweep by the Kansas City Royals. Castillo has appeared in 6 games. He's making his 250th start of his career. Off to a slow start this season at ERA at just 6.54. Castillo's arsenal is that 4-seam fastball, a slider, a sinker, and a changeup.
The lineup looking just exactly the same for Matt Quatrero and the Royals today. That means Michael Garcia leads things off. Bobby Witt Jr. follows at shortstop. There are plenty of lefties in this lineup, including Vinny Pasquantino. Jensen, Caglione, Massey, and Isbell all swing left-handed. And Isaac Collins, switch-hitting left fielder, will bat from the left side as well. Here's what it looks like defensively with the new addition. Johnny Pereda just called up yesterday, making his Mariners debut today. So he is behind home plate working with Luis Castillo. Connor Joe is in right field with the lefty on the mound. Luis Castillo's first pitch put in play, finding Connor Joe out there in the corner, and it's foul off the wall. Same with Joe. He gets some early action and picks himself up. Hopefully he's all right after sliding into that wall.
It's not the way you want to start today right here. He goes into that wall pretty hard, that knee going deep into the padding.
A long strike one to Garcia to begin things. Garcia, an all-star last year. Royals have won both games of the series so far, each by 1 run. Nothing to 2 on Garcia, leadoff hitting third baseman. I'm sure Pereda and Castillo spent some time together in Peoria in spring training, but nonetheless, first time working together here. What were the things that you were always trying to do the first time you worked with a new pitcher?
Number one, find out what he's comfortable with in certain situations, what pitches he likes to throw when he's behind in that count. How much confidence does he have on a 3-2 count? Can I use a secondary pitch?
Gets a routine grounder here, and Luis Castillo getting set to face Bobby Witt Jr., who was 1 for 16 against Castillo in his career, and it looks like some pitches up in the zone in particular against Bobby Witt Jr. over the course of their 16 meetings.
Yeah, 10 of those outs of the 16 at-bats have been against the fastball. And he comes right after him with a fastball on the outside part of the plate.
Witt reaching base 1 time last night. It's a 13-game on-base streak now for the all-star shortstop. As he fouls back 97, so some good velocity early on from Luis Castillo. Now Castillo's season got off to such an incredibly promising start. In his season debut at home against the Yankees, he spun 6 scoreless against New York, striking out 7. Well, it continues. This time it's a slider that puts him away. First strikeout for Luis Castillo.
This is a sharp slider by Castillo. That pitch starts off on the middle part of the plate, about thigh high, and just disappears under the bat of Bobby Witt Jr.
2 up and 2 down. Here is Pasquantino. He lines this foul. Nothing in 1 on the Royals first baseman. Well, plenty of lefties in the lineup today for Castillo to face, and funny enough, the higher average has been right on right. He's given up 3 of his 4 home runs on the season to lefties who have hit him hard overall. Not many ground balls to lefties. Not a whole lot of strikeouts as well to left-handed hitters, but overall has limited the damage. Ball and 2 strikes to Pasquantino.
Couple of back-to-back changeups against Pasquantino. He's been swinging the bat well over the last 7 games, hitting .333. See if he tries to climb the ladder with that fastball.
Here comes the 1-2. Changeup missing away. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Now, twice this year, Castillo's given up 7 runs in a start. He did go 5 innings, giving up 7 his last time out at Minnesota on that miserable night at Target Field, where it rained all 9 innings. Still 2-2. The power of Salvador Perez waiting on deck. In on his hands, He just threw him some saw blades at 98. And a strikeout to Pasquantino. That might be one of the best pitches we've seen all year from Castillo. A nice way to start things.
Good things come.
Lefty up on the mound for the Royals today. That means Rob Refsnyder leads things off. He handles the DH duties. Julio's had a nice series, including 2 home runs in Game 1. He bats second. Cole Young was batting 5th yesterday. He's still up higher than we've normally seen him. That with the absence of Cal Raleigh. So he is batting at the number 6 spot today. With Johnny Pareda making his Mariners debut, batting 8th and catching. Southpaw Chris Bubic is up on the hill, making his 7th start, pitching well overall this year. And his first offering is popped up softly, foul ground. Pasquantino with those sunglasses on. 1 pitch and 1 away.
Ball was rattling around in there. Bubic this season is 2-1 record with a 3.74 ERA, a strikeout rate at 25.5%, a walk rate at 12.4%.
A walk rate higher than he would like it. He has been awfully tough on lefties this year. There are 3 of them in the lineup today for the Mariners. Here's Julio. Now StatCast 3D look at Julio's last 11 games. 18 hits and notably 7 for extra bases, including 3 home runs.
But clearly Julio is at his best when he's using the entire field. He made mention of that a couple of days ago in one of his interviews. And he's proven that driving that ball to a right center gap, he's always going to be quick enough if they try to come inside to be able to spin on it, which we've seen with a number of those home runs to left field. But overall, that's his focus, right, is to try to stay on the ball on the outer part of the plate, drive the ball to right center, react on something inside.
0-2. Well, and for Julio, there aren't many that have the ability to truly hit for power the opposite way, but he can.
Very few. They're gifted. Those guys that can hit the ball the other way. And I'm thinking of guys like Juan Soto that'll, can just flip that ball out the opposite way. But we've seen Julio do that as well. It's not like he's giving up anything by trying to drive the ball towards the right center field gap.
1 out, nobody on. Still nothing in 2 his way. He swings and misses. Yeah, when I think about the great opposite field power hitters, more recently, Miguel Cabrera comes to mind.
Albert Pujols.
I was going to say him next. And then a guy with his number retired, Edgar.
Yes.
Just hanging doubles the other way into the gap, right?
It was a sight to behold.
Here's Josh Naylor. Lefties this year batting 115 against Bubic. With a lot of strikeouts. Not an easy left on left. Don't tell Naylor that, though. He's got good numbers over the course of his career. 2-0. On the ground over to first, Pasquantino handles this himself. And both starters retire the side in order. Scoreless first inning, onto the second.
A century ago.
Today's The Insurance You Get, brought to you by Pimco Insurance. What a night it was last night for this man, Emerson Hancock. 14 strikeouts, no walks over 7 innings. Unfortunately lost in what was a Mariners heartbreaking loss, despite a fairly historic pitching performance, not just by Emerson, but by the ball club. The Royals last night became the first team in baseball history to win a game while striking out 17 times and not drawing a single walk nor hitting a home run.
Amazing. And anytime you hear something about the first time in Major League Baseball history, it does grab your attention. But boy, we saw Emerson at his very best last night. Great fastball, great ability to control it.
Randy is right there to make the catch as we go down to the Ford Sports Desk. Ange, I know you had a chance to catch up with Emerson after the game last night.
Yeah, just for a few minutes at his locker, and he was most pleased with that sweeper. The fact that he was able to land that pitch in the strike zone and then just off of it, so near misses so he could get that chase last night.
Yeah, it really stood out. It was as good as that pitch has looked, and that's saying something. It's been a dynamite pitch for him through the entire first month of the season.
And it does act almost as if it's a change of pace, right? You've got the slider, the fastball that he was really locating all around the zone, especially across the top. But when he takes that sweeper, pulls about 8 or 9 miles an hour off of the slider, it really put the Royals kind of on their heels.
Running that fastball in on a lefty like we've seen him do already today. Castillo 0-2. Now, what a night for Emerson Hancock, and on a night where the Mariners honored Randy Johnson, striking out a career best 14. 0-2 coming. He goes around. Let's go back to the final out of the first inning. Vinny Pasquantino strikes out on Val. I think this is one of the best pitches we've seen all year from Luis Castillo.
He locates it right above the hands. Not a whole lot Pasquantino can do with that pitch right there. As you mentioned, 98 miles an hour. That's about as hard as we've seen Luis throw the ball in a couple of years.
Now he's cooking and throwing a lot of heaters today, working with Pareda.
We saw how Emerson went after the Royals hitters last night, trying to get them to chase above the strike zone. It looks like a very similar approach for Castillo here today.
And this high fastball popped up into shallow center. Julio underneath it. Caglione retired. 6 up and 6 down for Luis Castillo. Time now for a walk in the park with WSECU in Washington State Parks. For every Seattle walk at home this season, WSECU will be donating $200 to the Washington State Parks Foundation this season at home. The Mariners have walked 77 times, bringing the total donation to $15,400. Good stuff there. Randy fouls it straight back for strike one. Randy Crawford and Cole Young here in the Mariners second. And that first inning, we'll see if this continues. Bubic's velocity was really up. He averages about 92 or so, and he was throwing 94, 95. See how long that continues for the lefty. Bubic last year was an all-star. He had a magnificent first half, a sub-3 ERA. Unfortunately, the second half of his season was lost. He made 2 starts, then landed on the IL with a rotator cuff strain. Out to right field, Caglione gets there to make the catch. And that ended his season. So the Royals happy to have him back healthy into the rotation. Here's J.P. Crawford.
You mentioned that fastball. The other part of his arsenal, he's got that changeup. He throws 22% of the time. And opponents have really been struggling against the changeup. Just 1 for 25 this season.
Strike one at JP. And it's not a pitch that Crawford will need to worry about. It's a pitch he throws almost exclusively to righties. JP dropping a bunt down. Massey with a bare hand, and it's not held on to by Pasquantino. JP Crawford bunt base hit.
This bunt is located perfectly. You got to make the second baseman come in at full charge. And JP with that good speed, and Pasquantino unable to come up with the little short hop right here. JP was already across the bag. I do like a good bunt.
Well, especially we talked about the numbers that Bubic has against lefties this year. They're batting .115 against him. Did you ever have a bunt base hit in your career?
Swinging bunt. I tried a couple of times, but I wasn't very adept. And then, oh yeah, I wasn't very fast.
You had to run to first base.
But I did bunt for, back then they were a lot of sacrifices.
The funny thing, I was talking to Mark Langston about this when the Mariners were in Anaheim earlier this year. Langston has 7 Gold Gloves, among the most from any pitcher in baseball history, quite frankly. And I made the comment to him, I said, I don't hardly ever see a pitcher in today's game and go, man, that's a great fielder. Right? You can say that about basically any other position, but not a pitcher. And he said something, he said the most obvious thing to me that I had not thought of. And that is, well, he said, in my day, you had to guard against the bunt.
Yeah.
And so he said, I practiced that all the time. Guys were, bottom of the order guys were always trying to bunt their way aboard.
Well, and Mark also was a phenomenal athlete. Played competitive soccer. And he was a great competitor as well, but he was fast. He had just great body control. Now, those are all the type of things that you need on a bunt, right? You're running in towards home plate. You're having to pick it up. He's left-handed, so he's got, if it's on the third base side, he's having to do a full spin. But pitchers that back then obviously worked much harder on it than they do now.
Maddox with 18. That's the most Gold Gloves by any player at any position ever. But Langston, man, 7 Gold Gloves. I asked him what he did, where he has all of them, and he said he
in the garage in a box somewhere.
He did move, so he said that they were in storage for a bit, but he said that he gave one to his grandson and that it's in his grandson's bedroom. Can you imagine that?
Oh, that's so awesome.
Isn't that the greatest thing ever?
That is.
You're a kid and you're growing up with your grandpa's Gold Glove in your bedroom, and there are 6 other ones out there too.
That's right. I wonder which one he gave him, like what year,
yeah.
If there was any type of significance to that.
So you can choose whichever one you want. Connor Joe at the plate, 2-1.
That played with Mark all the way through the minor leagues. When he made the jump from AA to the major leagues, became rookie pitcher of the year.
What a leg kick.
Oh yeah.
You talk about athletic.
He had style. He had style. Good looking guy, right? Major league pitcher, left side. We used to play basketball in the offseason as well. Harold put together a team called Reynolds Rap. And we used to play high school faculty as a fundraiser for the schools. And again, that would never happen today.
I was going to say, man.
It was me, Alvin Davis, Jim Beatty,
oh my gosh.
Harold, and we played quite a bit of high schools all through the years. But Mark, again, was a very good basketball player as well. Then, I'm starting to remember things from Mark. He became good friends with a soccer player named Preki, who played, I believe it was down in the Tacoma Dome. And next thing I know, we're playing soccer at the Tacoma Dome. And I'm like, I'm not a soccer player. And boy, it's exhausting playing soccer.
Did you become any good at it?
No.
I
kicked some field goals. I didn't know how to kind of get on top of that soccer ball. They have the good spin, like bend it like Beckham.
You could be a good goalie, right? You could block it.
Yeah, that I probably would have been much better at than being a forward.
This is slapped down the line and foul. So you're saying don't get any ideas, Cal, Julio, Cole Young, J.P. Crawford, going out and playing the high school basketball faculty circuit this winter?
I was in the Dominican this year at a very special event. Julio built a field down there in Loma de Cabrera.
It looks incredible.
It was unbelievable. Now, I've spent a lot of time down in the Dominican, and I went to Loma, which is up near the Haitian border on the northwest side.
Nice walk by Connor Joe. It could have been a strike. No challenge, though.
So, Aaron, I fly into Santiago, and it's about 3.5 hours on a 2-lane road. Like, it was not an easy ride, right? We finally get there, spend the night, and then the next day is a big grand opening. And the video, you could probably find it on Instagram, was just spectacular. All field turf. Like there was, I believe it might be the first baseball field in the Dominican Republic that has field turf. It had lights. And these guys, Julio was able to recruit a number of his friends from the DR.
Johnny Pareda in his first at-bat as a Mariner sends this deep out to center field, but it's flagged down there by Isbell for round number 3. We'll pick that up when we get to the 3rd. No score.
Holland.
Welcome back inside the broadcast booth. Aaron Goldsmith and Dave Valley. Art Valley, you're telling us about Julio's No Limit Foundation and the incredible work that he did back in his hometown.
Yeah, so they had this amazing celebration, right? The grand opening of this, and the guys that were there, I had to write them down because I still was having a hard time believing that all these guys showed up. Some of them helicoptered in because it was in such a remote part of the island. But Fernando Tatis, Juan Soto, Vlad Jr., Julio, Luis Castillo, today's starter, Robles, and Nelson Cruz. Now, Nelly didn't play, but these guys are out there playing softball, and I'm sitting on the bench. I dared not step on the field. So I'm in the dugout watching this, and I'm sitting next to Charlie Stobbs, who's from Adidas, which was a big sponsor of Julio's event, right? They got the J-Rod squad out there by Adidas. And I'm going, Charlie, add up the numbers here. Like, tell me if I got this right. There's probably over $2 billion on that softball field right now, and I'm thinking, what would their team say if they saw them out here playing a softball game?
Nobody died.
They were playing too. They
really?
wasn't, they weren't going through the motions.
Okay.
They were playing, and it was pretty spectacular. But the field, the reaction from the community in Julio's hometown, it was just absolutely incredible.
Well, Julio made a personal investment of $1.3 million in this project, and obviously something that was very close to his heart and his childhood, and what he has done to help grow the game and make the game even more accessible in his home country is remarkable. So great work by Julio and all those others that joined in, and it does go to show you the love and respect that players around the league have for Julio, that
Absolutely.
They would come out and be a part of that.
And let me tell you, being on the philanthropic part of things in the game of baseball for a long time, Julio is unique. Like, you don't often find young people very successful thinking about, hey, how can I help other people? Oftentimes it happens, later on in life, where you start recognizing maybe I'm at halftime and I've kind of reached the top of the mountain, and then now I'm going to try to do something. But Julio, at his young age, the commitment that he has made to his community down there and communities around here in Seattle, by the way, he's a unique individual.
Well, he is surrounded by good people. Nelson Cruz is one of those guys, obviously a former Mariner. I remember when Nelly was here, there was a story that came out one offseason that Nelson Cruz helped to purchase not just one, but I believe multiple ambulances as a strikeout here to Massey back in his hometown. I mean, you think about that. You're buying an ambulance to help save someone's life. I mean, and later Nelson Cruz met someone in his hometown back in the DR who said to him, thank you, the ambulance you bought, it saved my mother's life.
I believe it.
Incredible.
Yes, the needs down there are tremendous, and Nelly is one of the most respected Dominican players.
Tag looked like a good one, and it is. Collins cut down. Johnny Pareda showing off that arm that Angie was talking about earlier today.
Oh, is there a better feeling than for a young player to step up to the big leagues and someone tries to take a bag and you just throw a missile, a laser beam at the second base? Great play by JP as well, coming up the line and applying the tag right on the helmet.
What a rocket. Isbell fouls it away. 1 ball and 1 strike of the number 9 hitter.
Just to finish up on Nelly, but he's a guy that has been doing so much down there in the Dominican. We actually partnered with the Wheelchair Foundation this year, me and Nelly and a number of other guys, and brought in over 3,000 wheelchairs.
Oh, wow.
And Nelly was spearheading that down there in the Dominican.
One of the best. Great work by both you guys.
I mean, he's a guy that, like, if you have young Dominican players because of the way they look up to him, he can have a huge impact on them and their growth. In fact, you know, he was a GM for the Dominican national team.
Isbell finds a base hit in shallow left.
Certainly one of my favorite guys that I've come into contact with in this game.
He was a great Mariner, a wonderful person. And when we were in Minnesota, we were talking with Mitch Garver, a former Twin, and Garv was in Minnesota when Nelson Cruz was a Twin, which you kind of don't necessarily think of Nelson Cruz being a Twin, but he was. And Garver said that overnight, Cruz changed the culture in Minnesota. And I think that's something that we can easily lose sight of. The guys who are able to do that. And obviously, you got to be around for a little while to have that ability, and Nelson Cruz certainly fits that mold. And I said, how did he change the culture? And he said, just him.
Presence.
Yeah, just being him.
He has a presence about him when he walks in. He just commands instant respect by how he's played, by how he acts, how he lives. I could absolutely see that from younger players, like when Nelly walks in the room, it's like, okay, like everybody kind of just sits up.
Well, he changed the clubhouse here. He helped get a nap room installed, which I feel like you would be a big proponent of a nap room.
I would have loved Nelly just for that. Just for that. I used to have to hide in like a closet in the old Kingdom just to get a little, 15-second nap.
Well, I remember pre-nap room installed as we get a challenge here. I one time saw Nelson Cruz lying on the couch in the clubhouse with multiple towels, as this is a ball.
Call's overturned. Kansas City has 2 challenges remaining.
He had towels wrapped all around his head, and I thought he was really sick. And I thought, well, he might not be in the lineup today. No, he's just trying to take a nap. He's trying to block out all the light and the sound. So he's talked to the right person and got a nap room built.
Well, I remember Ken Griffey Jr. doing that just about every day, and people were going, "What's wrong with him? Why is he doing that?" I was like, "Well, because he was here at 1 o'clock. He took about 200 swings, and you show up at 3, and he's taking a little nap." I'm like, "That's why."
3-1. Garcia fly ball out to Arozarena in left. He's fighting the sun a little bit. Now it's Julio. He's got a beat on it. Makes the catch to retire the side.
Toyota.
We're going to have another look at that caught stealing right here. Watch Paredes. He goes from a kneel to his feet and then comes up. A good pitch to throw on to the right side so you can make that transfer directly to your right arm, your throwing arm. And he throws a laser down there to second base.
And guys, this is so important in today's game. We've been talking about these one-run games and how important 90 feet is. Kyle Isbell ended up singling softly into center field, and if Pareda would not have thrown him out, that run would have scored on the Isbell single. Huge.
A really good first impression from Johnny Pareda. No score beginning the bottom of the 3rd. Leo Rivas leads it off. One ball and 1 strike. That fastball velo may be more to the norm now for Bubic. He was out throwing 94, 95 in the 1st inning. Now more in the low 90s, his season average. Top of the order is next.
Bubic this season has been really good on the road, and last season since the start of 2025 he's 6-1 with a 2.4 ERA.
Still 1-2 on Rivas. Mariners this year wearing the new Steelhead Sunday uniforms. No Sunday tradition. The 1-2, and it's in the dirt. Mariners had the cream Sunday uniform tops for quite a while, but the change made this year. And it's got to be the jerseys, right?
I do like them a lot.
Well, they are a fan favorite. They do look good.
Kind of an understated retro look.
Full count as Rivas has battled back to a 3-2. And he draws a walk. Nice job by Rivas getting back into things and reaching base. Coming up May 15th, it's Hello Kitty Clear Crossbody Bag Night. The first 20,000 fans through the gates before the Mariners take the Padres will take home the special ballpark approved Hello Kitty Mariners bag. Thanks to Starbucks. Mariners.com/tickets to get yours. Get the Hello Kitty bucket hat. Man, what a job by our crew. We are on it today.
Although I haven't seen any food yet.
They've had much more important things to do. Did you not see that Emmy Award-winning shot of Hello Kitty? Here's Rob Refsnyder. One ball and one strike. Rivas is aboard. A leadoff walk. Second walk from Bubic this afternoon. I haven't seen you hitting up the soft serve yet this homestand. Are you eating it in private now?
Trying to stay away from it. It's as much as it hurts. Trying to stay away from it. You know they say about TV, it adds 15 pounds to you. So.
Well, so does 4 cups of soft serve every day of a 7-game homestand. The 2-1. 3 balls and a strike. Well, I commend you for the self-discipline.
Well, and I want to kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? I was a little upset this morning. I walk in and you had donuts in there here in our booth. I'm like, you're killing me. Now those folks right there would love those donuts. I would love them too. I almost took one. Is that an apple fritter? Were those apple fritters?
And maple bars, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
With my coffee.
Well, the good news was that Nate took half of them first. The box is down to the first base camera well right now. Nate. Nate.
Busted.
Is that apple fritter I see? There's a throw to first base. I would say that you could eat the soft serve, maybe just portion control it a little bit more.
No, that's the problem. It's like as soon as I have one bite, it's over. It's just the log jam has been broken.
Strike 3 call. Fastball. Gets Refsnyder. That was maybe a little down and in. Here's Julio. 1 out, 1 on.
One more thought on the ice cream. Just like I do not ever have ice cream in my house, because if I buy a half a gallon, I eat it like 1 coffee cup at a time until it's gone. It's like I cannot control it. So I know my weakness.
Here's Julio. Julio struck out his first at bat. Changeup gets a swing and a miss. That has been such a good pitch against righties for Bubic this year. Now, for a guy who throws from the left side at 91 miles an hour, he's really limited right-handed hitters so far this year. They're batting just .215 against him, with only 2 home runs. I mean, if you're a lefty throwing 91, you better have something to counter right-handers, and that changeup's been it, among other things.
Whenever you think of a lefty who's had success, you write Jamie Moyer. A guy that was not a hard thrower, but had good command, had good secondary pitches, had a fantastic changeup. Yeah, but you can't live with a 91-mile-an-hour fastball unless you have the ability to locate it and you have other pitches to keep the hitters off balance.
And righties are batting .042 on that changeup. He's thrown it over a quarter of the time to right-handed bats. Pretty amazing. There he goes on the ground into left field. Rivas got a head start. He sprints into third. A headlong slide safe. And the Mariners have him on the corners.
Rivas had a tremendous jump from first base. Going for the steal. Does a nice job of picking up the ball to know where it's at. This ball is hit hard into left field. He never slows down. All the way into third. Great base running by Rivas.
Julio now 5 for 10 in this series. Final game of 3 today.
There's something about those Royal uniforms when Julio's at the plate. Hitting lifetime coming in today, hitting .381 lifetime against the Kansas City Royals.
Naylor at the plate, 1 out. Runners on the corners. If you go back for Julio a few years ago, back to 23, when he had that incredible stretch of 17 hits over a 4-game span, some of that was against Kansas City. This is fair to Pasquantino, slings a throw to second and no throw over to first. Leo Rivas scores and the Mariners on the board. 1-0 in the bottom of the third.
Naylor gets the job done. Ball's not hit very hard, so they can't go home to try to nail Rivas. And he takes that first out over at second base.
That's those leadoff walks come back to bite you. That's what happens to Bubic here. Leadoff walk scores. Here's a Rosarena. On the ground, Pasquantino right there by the bag. A step on first and the side retired.
Welcome back. You know, guys, I love to nerd out on the little things like this right here. Fourth pitch of Leo Rivas' at bat. 1-2 count, foul tip in and out of the glove of Jensen. Now, if he would have caught that, it would have been strike 3. It would not have resulted in ball 4, and he would not come around to score.
Yeah, that's a good look at it on our Snoqualmie Super Mode. Just couldn't quite hang on to it.
And that's one of those things you can't practice it, right? Because you're not even reacting to it on a foul tip. But when you have soft hands, oftentimes you'll be able to hold on to more than them than you will drop.
Bobby Wood Jr. leads things off. Really good velocity today from Castillo. We've seen him up to 98. That fastball at 96. Tell you what else we've just seen. I know it's still early, just beginning the 4th inning, but just a ton of fastballs. It's been almost exclusively heaters so far for Castillo. About 80% fastball. Up and in. That heater at 97 running.
Yeah, I think when you see percentages like that, Castillo is just kind of feeling the fastball, right? A lot of confidence with it. Establishing strike 1 early in the count.
This is into center field, a base hit as Witt was ready for 97 and turns it for a base hit. 14-game on base streak for the Royals shortstop. First 9 outs through 3 innings today. Yeah, a lot of four-seamers and sinkers. Just 2 outs on something other than a fastball.
Yeah, one of those sliders was a strikeout to Bobby Witt Jr.
Working up in the zone today, at least so far. Here is the Pasquatch, Vinny Pasquantino.
In that first at bat, Castillo threw 3 consecutive changeups. And he starts him off here with another changeup.
One ball and 1 strike. All right, so Pasquantino has 3 career stolen bases. None this year. Now, it doesn't exactly look like a base stealing threat, right? He has his role, and stealing bases probably isn't near the top of his list. But he talked about Josh Naylor this year in spring training. This ball is slapped into right field firmly for a base hit, and the Royals have him at first and third. Pasquantino took note of all the stolen bases, all 30 of them from Josh Naylor last season, and said, hey, that's another first baseman that's not a very good runner, just like me, and he swiped 30. So Pasquantino's been putting in a little more thought of maybe he should be more active. Now, he hasn't even attempted a stolen base yet this year, but maybe that speaks to it does take a little awareness and some skill to do what Josh Naylor did last year.
Absolutely shocking. I was not anticipating him stealing 30 bases. Were you? When he first came over?
No, it was he exceeded his career total in 1 year. Here's Perez. Royals threatening here. Takes down and away. First and third for Kansas City. And he gets hit at 96, and he's holding that left arm, man. Even on a DH day, Perez beat up.
It's that 2-seam fastball just running up and in. It doesn't hit the guard that's protecting the elbow and the upper arm. It hits right off the forearm. That hurts, and tomorrow morning it's going to hurt even more.
And he looks out to Castillo, says he's all right. No hard feelings there. Pete Woodworth on his way out. Bases are loaded. Nobody out for Kansas City. So a couple of singles and a hit batter.
This is where you really need to do some damage control with bases loaded, nobody out. Try to get yourself a ground ball right here, maybe turn 2. If you can get out of this situation with just 1 run, you're doing a great job.
Young catcher Carter Jensen. He's got good power, also a good amount of swing and miss. Strike 1.
Jensen 6 for 26 with runners in scoring position.
Fouls back a heater, and now Castillo ahead, 1 ball and 2 strikes.
The Royals have really struggled with runners in scoring position this season. They are 28th out of 30, hitting just .226.
And despite a lot of opportunities this year, or more than you might imagine. The 1-2. Witt at third. Pasquantino the runner at second. Perez is at first. Bases loaded, nobody out. And a full count now. Caglione on deck. If you're Jensen, you just get geared up for a fastball here, or is it not that easy?
I mean, it's all about approach, right? With runners in scoring position, you don't want to try to do too much. You want to put the ball in play. You're going to be battling up there.
It is a fastball to 96, just off the plate.
I think oftentimes when guys struggle with runners in scoring position, they're trying to do too much. They're trying to hit the ball out of the ballpark as opposed to, hey, if I get a base hit right here, I could pick up a couple of runs. Maybe that turns into something in the gap.
He walks them with the bases loaded. A fastball for ball 4. And we're tied. Pasquantino to third, Perez into second. Jensen a bases loaded walk. All even now. Caglione takes down and in.
Caglione struggling with runners in scoring position, just 3 for 21.
When you look at Caglione, you can understand why he was drafted as high as he was in the first round. Still a very young player. Rolls over this to first. Naylor has it. Crawford at second. That's all they'll get. Another run comes home. That's Pasquantino. And the Royals now take a 2-1 lead. Starting tomorrow, you can catch a marquee interleague matchup for less than $12. Braves come to town for a 3-game value series. Mariners.com/value games to lock in your seats tomorrow through Wednesday. Ronald Acuna Jr. just announced he has landed on the injured list because of a hamstring strain. RBI fielder's choice for Caglione. Runners on the corners. Collins. A fly ball hanging up there, right center field. Catch is made. Perez on his way home, and he is out at the plate. Salvador Perez emphatically saying, take a look. As of now, the inning is over. The Royals do want a challenge.
Pereda picks up the short hop right there. Perez trying to get that left hand in there. Looks like he may have done
Kansas City is challenging the out call at home plate.
Tough angle right there, but the first shot that we had did look like Perez's left hand got to the plate right here before that tag is applied to the elbow of Sal Perez. Perez was pretty emphatic once that play was over that he had gotten in there.
Now, the very first view we saw, it did make it look like he is safe.
After review, the call on the field is overturned. The runner is safe. Kansas City retains their challenge.
Here it is in real time.
Take a look at Julio right here. This is exactly how you want to approach a sac fly. He gets behind the ball, gets all of his momentum, throws a strike to Pereda at home. Unfortunately, that ball just had a couple too many bounces before it gets to Pereda, before he was able to apply the tag.
Sacrifice fly from Collins. It's 3-1 Kansas City now with 2 outs. Caglione, the only base runner at first. Here's Michael Massey. Takes high and away. And this is after the play was over. Luis Castillo going over and making sure that Salvador Perez is all right after getting drilled by an upper 90s fastball earlier.
It almost looked like he grabbed his forearm. Says, "Is this where it hurts?"
Here, let me help. 2-0 to Massey. Now Castillo retired the first 6 that he faced. He was able to strand a runner in the 4th and face just in the 3rd, I beg your pardon, and face only 4 batters. But this has been a bit of a hurdle in the 4th inning. 25 pitches and counting. Now bases loaded walk, an RBI fielder's choice, and a sac fly. Popped him up. JP drifting out, short center field. For out number 3, but damage dealt. 3 runs come in and the Royals take the lead. Today's Home Depot working on a win. We take you down to the farm, AA Arkansas. Lázaro Montes yesterday at Wichita. 3 home runs, 8 ribbies. He has homered again today. He has homered 6 times in the series against AA Wichita. One of the Mariners' top prospects. His 3rd year as a top 100 prospect overall. Montes, a member of the Futures game last year, the minor league all-star game for all levels, as Crawford leads things off. So good work by one of the Mariners' top prospects. That's quite the weekend.
So 6 home runs in 6 games. Is that what you said?
Is the series is it a 6-game series?
Do they play 6-game series down there?
It is a 6-game.
Wow.
Every Monday is off in the minor leagues these days.
It's a beautiful thing. Boy, that's being hot though. That is on fire.
Rolled over to first. Pasquantino's gotten a lot of action in this series, and there is out number 1. Now a message from Hyundai.
A car that sees what you can't, how it should be. The Hyundai Tucson.
Here is Cole Young. You know, when the minor leagues changed and they switched to those essentially week-long series with every Monday being an off day, I did wonder what it would be like for the umpire crews. Now, on one hand, they don't have to get in the minivan and drive through the night as often as they did before. But at the same time, you get a salty crew or a salty manager or catcher, and we didn't like how you called it in game 1, and now you're calling it in game 3 again. Young finds a base hit in left field. And some interesting dynamics there possibly.
No question about it. I think oftentimes when you see in spring training teams play each other a lot, that's when flare-ups start to happen, fights start to happen. Somebody gets hit, somebody takes somebody out at second base, and then you know that you're going to be with them for 5 more days. Like something is going to happen.
Yeah.
There's no question about it.
Sometimes it's just better to get out of town, you know. And the schedule will not allow that these days. But obviously the other side of that is you're not packing up and getting on the bus through the night quite as often as you were before, so that's a good thing. And there must be something to just always knowing where no matter where you are, you're off on the same day every week all season long.
Yeah, I definitely think anytime you can limit the travel, especially in the lower minor leagues where you're busing, you're putting in a lot of hours. Now the buses have definitely gotten better.
No doubt.
My first bus that I rode on was up in Bellingham, 1978, 17 years old. It was a school bus.
What?
Did not have a restroom on it. Did not have padding. I mean, the chairs were so uncomfortable.
Now you're telling me it was a legit yellow school bus.
It was a legit yellow school bus. And I remember the first road trip we had to go from Bellingham to Boise.
Okay.
And I think that's about like a 8 or 9, maybe 10-hour drive. And instead of stopping overnight, the bus driver would just kind of pull off the side on I-90, and there'd be a line of young men kind of taking care of business. Imagine that sight.
Hey, is that the Mariners' top prospects? Nothing to 1-2 Pareto.
So sometimes it's good when things change. But those kids, I mean, you have so many bodies on the bus. So guys that want to sleep will literally sleep on the floor, lay down a towel.
Yeah.
They'll try to think about that when they're sleeping up in the little luggage racks. Anything to just get straight, you know.
I remember when I was in the minors, we had to scratch the starting pitcher that the team I was broadcasting for was scheduled to throw that night because his arm was essentially dead from sleeping on it against the window on the bus for an 8-hour overnight bus trip. His arm wasn't functioning because you know, it's not good to fall asleep on your arm like that. This is down the line. I guess you learn the hard way something like that kind of a mistake. If you're a lefty, sleep on the other side of the bus.
That's right. You got to protect that right arm. That's your money maker.
But then you look at a big league ballpark like this today and you say, yeah, those bus rides are worth it.
It's worth it. Absolutely. You know, when you're in the midst of it, you're not really thinking about it, right? You're chasing your dream. You're willing to do whatever it takes to try to move up a level. But I tell you what, going in my situation, we're going from AA to AAA, and all of a sudden now you're flying. You're like, oh, this is the big leagues, man. This is so much better.
Wait, there's a bathroom here? 2 outs and a man at first. Well, and I'm curious your thoughts on this. Every step along the way becomes your big leagues, right?
Yes.
When you're in A ball and you go to AA feels like the big leagues.
It's a big deal.
Yeah,
it is a big deal. Going to AAA, I remember going to AAA, number one, you're flying, and then you know some of my teammates were big leaguers. They had big league time.
Sure. Pareto swings and misses. Bubic collects the strikeout, completed with the throw to first base. Now the Mariners, after 4, trail the Royals 3-1. Join the next generation of Mariner fans by signing up for the free Mariners Kids Club presented by BECU. Each membership includes a special Kids Club hat, membership badge, access to exclusive events, special discounts, and much more. You can scan the QR code you just saw to register. Number 9 man Kyle Isbell leads things off. It was a taxing 4th for Luis Castillo. 3 runs came in. He faced 7 batters. As Isbell pops this up into that Seattle sunshine, Josh Naylor underneath it. Quickly 1 away. Back to the top of the order for the 3rd time, Michael Garcia.
After that last inning, Castillo really could use a short inning here to help him go a little bit deeper in the ball game.
I wonder, and we don't necessarily need to have the answer to this. We might find out post game. I wonder if the huge fastball usage today from Castillo. I mean, he's about 80% fastball. If that is a Pareto influence behind home plate, I mean, he's the one calling it, right? Or if it's just simply, well, he's throwing 96 to 98 miles an hour on the heater, so we had a plan to do this, but we saw that and we stuck with it.
That would be a theory, but with a young catcher back there, and you have a veteran out there on the mound, the veteran on the mound is going to pitch his game.
Okay.
As a young catcher, as we take a look at how he has gone after Bobby Witt here today, five four-seam fastballs, slider, one of those struck him out.
Almost everything up except for that slider that got the punch out. Here's a swing and a miss on a heater middle away.
But as a young catcher, you're what you're hoping is you're going to put down what he wants so that there's a good rhythm. Put down the sign. He agrees with it. You guys are thinking on the same page.
Fastball up and in. Cal Raleigh is still on the roster. He has not been put on the injured list. He's missing his second straight game because of soreness in his right side. He said he's already feeling better than he did the last day or so. Oh, 2. Really up there that time with a fastball. So the Mariners are trying to manage this and not rush him back too soon and keep him from making it worse than what it is. They're hoping that this can heal up and avoid an IL stint.
I don't think I've ever met a baseball player who wasn't trying to get back on the field sooner than they really should. Like, no, I'm good. I can play. Yes, you can play, but we don't want to hurt this and make you go on the IL for an extended period of time. So if it's just an extra day or an extra 2 days to get you back to being 100%, as we talked earlier, it's May. It's early. There's a lot of baseball to be played, and that guy right there is such an important part of this lineup.
Straightaway center field off the bat of Witt. Julio is there. 2 outs. Garcia scampers back to first after his single. So 2 down and a man aboard. Julio chopping it up with the J-Rod squad out there. Here's the left-handed bat of Pasquantino. Garcia on his way to second, and the ball gets loose. Not sure the tag would have been there in time. Gets out of Crawford's glove. Garcia swipes his 4th bag this year.
Tough pick right there for JP on the short hop. He picks it right there. Still would have been very, very close.
Julio giving ground, adjusting, and he's in front of the warning track to put it away. And Julio will find a fan out there in the J-Rod squad. And that does it for the Royals here in the top of the 5th. May 18th and 19th, White Sox are in town. It's a 2-day Josh Naylor bobblehead giveaway. You get 2 chances to snag Naylor's first bobblehead as a Mariner, thanks to Western Washington Toyota dealers. Mariners.com/tickets to lock in your seats.
You think Josh had any say on the purple shoes?
I can say this. I know that he approves of them.
Okay.
You could almost have chosen any color for his cleats in the bobblehead, and he would actually have a pair that is like that. So almost impossible to get it wrong. 0-2 on Rivas.
Got the matching headbands and gloves here today.
Imagine if you had coordinated all of your protective gear back in the day.
I tried. You know, you try to at least look the part. It's like a guy going to go play golf. If you're not a very good golfer, you got to at least look like you're a golfer.
You got roses on the shoes today for Naylor. That explains the red.
Little
he's all over it, man.
Derby? Is that a derby thing with the roses?
I can't think of something else it would be. Even has his name on the shoe with the roses.
Nails?
Yeah.
Is that what I saw?
One of the broadcasters for the Royals, who's not on this trip, he's an analyst for his select games for Kansas City, Jeremy Guthrie, former big league pitcher. Guthrie owns a shoe customizing company that Naylor uses, and it's been an incredible business for Jeremy Guthrie since he has stopped playing. This has become much more of a thing in recent years, and Naylor's one of his biggest customers. It's a company where you can send him any pair of shoes and he'll turn them into cleats, and they'll customize the color and the paint.
I wonder what the cost is, because I'm just thinking of, you know, how many of those are you going to be actually making? I'd like to see his business plan.
Things got very serious all of a sudden. Oh, look at those shoes. I'm going to need the hard financials. My accountant will take a look.
Shoes have come a long way, though.
Long fly out to left field, Leo Rivas. Here is the top of the order, and Rob Refsnyder. Now, Ref is just kind of like a plain old stock
vanilla.
Yeah, just close enough.
But remember, white shoes back in the day, like you were styling.
That was it. You're right.
Right. The old Oakland A's would wear those white shoes. Now, growing up, I loved Adidas. That was like my brand. Like, that was the coolest thing, Lou Alcindors. And when I got to the big leagues, Adidas was making cleats. They haven't always done that. And then within about 3 years, they went out of the baseball cleat brand.
While you were in the big leagues?
While I was in the big leagues, I was like, oh, like, can you send me whatever's left in the warehouse? You know, to just use them, right? Because we were using basically Navy shoes at that time with the Mariners. There's some Adidas is back.
Julio's your guy then.
Julio is the guy. Well, what was I wearing today?
Thank you for holding your shoe up. You could have just said, I was wearing Adidas today. But I do appreciate you taking your shoe off. Those 13s?
14.
1 ball and 1 strike. Julio 1 for 2 today. Into center field. Isbell right on top of the 5. Makes the catch. Bubic retires the side in order for the second time.
Good things.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by the authority of the Seattle Mariners and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Seattle Mariners.
Sounds like a professional. Top of the 6th. Royals lead it 3-1.
I don't think I've ever been called that before.
First for everything today. Nice shoe. Here's Salvador Perez, who fouls it back. And Perez hit on the forearm his last time up on an upper 90s fastball. He's now 35. He'll turn actually 36 in just about a week. In his 15th season. I'm sure you'll have an interesting angle on this, Val. You know, Perez, if you look at, let's start with something a little more in the weeds. If you look at the WAR numbers, right, the wins above replacement for Salvador Perez in his career, it is not impressive. It does not rank even in the top 100, just outside of that, in fact. And that is a nice sliding catch, Connor Joe. That ball hung up and started tailing away a little bit more, and Connor Joe flags it down to make the catch.
Probably the hardest part of this was that he was battling the sun the entire way. He had to come a long way to get to this ball. You can see that reflection of the sun off of his sunglasses. Fantastic play.
Yeah, the overall kind of advanced numbers on Salvador Perez are not something to necessarily write home about. You look at the more traditional numbers. Well, he's a 9-time All-Star. He's a World Series MVP. He's a 5-time Silver Slugger Award winner. He won 5 Gold Gloves, but the caveat there, critics would say he won the Gold Gloves in an era where we did not have the pitch framing data like we have now, and then maybe some of those Gold Gloves were won more on reputation than by actual ability behind the plate. And people will use those arguments to say that Salvador Perez does not belong in the Hall of Fame one day. My counter to that is we've been watching Salvador Perez for 15 years now, and he's been in the lineup basically every game by and large for the Royals for a decade and a half. He's been a part of the absolute glory years for Kansas City, bringing home a title, winning the World Series MVP, like I said. And I guess my thought is, if that's not what a Hall of Famer looks like at that position, I don't know what it does look like.
Well, he certainly has the special accomplishments, right? So what was his total wins above replacement?
I mean, if you look at Fangraph's version of it, it's it's fewer than 20. It's mind-boggling low.
That's shocking.
Shockingly, though. Now, for contrast, the all-timer Johnny Bench is nearly 75. Joe Mauer's at 53, and he obviously transitioned to first base later in his career. So I mean, like, it is a long way off from where it should be. Jorge Posada's a 41. JT Realmuto, looking at an active player, he's 37. He ranks just inside the top 40 all time in wins above replacement for the catcher position.
And Posada, if I remember correctly, was off the ballot within just a few years. I mean, he didn't really get much consideration at all.
Brian, how about this? Brian McCann
with Atlanta?
Yeah,
great career.
Great career. I don't hear people clamoring for McCann to be in the Hall of Fame. He's 15th all time, 52.
Wow.
Jensen, young catcher himself, sends this high in the air out to right field. More routine of a catch this time for Connor Joe.
Well, the other thing that Perez had also was the most home runs in a season by a catcher, until, of course, Cal Raleigh broke that last year. So he's had some amazing personal accomplishments.
Absolutely. There's no doubt. I mean, it's a jam-packed baseball reference page.
So question for you, big Hall or small Hall? And now remember, this is, and I have had this discussion with a lot of people about like third base. There's very few Hall of Fame third basemen. So I'm like, okay, so if you're the 9th best third baseman of all time, you don't deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Like, how small do you want this to be? You can't compare people. You know, when I was growing up, it was like, oh, Willie Mays, Hank Aaron, Mickey Mantle. That was kind of the standard, but those are like the elite of the Hall of Famers.
Oh, I should also say, it doesn't just come down to who has the highest wins above replacement, right? Like, that's not how the Hall of Fame works. Just like it's not how the MVP works or any award. It's not just one number and we just take the best one. But when you use that as part of the formula, which obviously anybody who's voting on something as grand as the Hall of Fame, you want to look at a wide variety of points of evidence, some with your eyes, some with the data, some with the numbers. In terms of wins above replacement, it does not bode well at all for Salvador Perez. And yet, for those of us who watch it regularly, you go, he's been the absolute cornerstone player for a franchise. And when his career is all said and done, he could possibly, I mean, this is, I suppose, debatable, but it could be George Brett and Salvador Perez in Royals franchise history. And maybe Bobby Wood Jr. joins that conversation in a decade from now, right? But, I mean, that's what we're talking about when you look at a player's royalty within a franchise. And for Kansas City in this instance.
The cornerstone is a great way to describe him. He's kind of been the rock of this organization for so long. He said he had 5 Gold Gloves?
I think that was correct, yes.
So in certain positions, I kind of lean towards, okay, if it's a defensive position, how good was he defensively? And I know you had the caveat of, well, they didn't have the analytics back then as far as a receiver. But boy, that's a pretty strong resume.
It's big time.
So I'll throw another one at you.
Here comes Pete out to have a talk after that 2-out walk. 96 pitches for Castillo. Bullpen is up for the Mariners.
So I'm going to ask you about a pitcher and you can look him up. Is Jacob deGrom a Hall of Famer?
Well, I think when you start talking about modern day pitchers, you have to throw away the old recipe and you have to create a new one. Right. We're no longer looking at 3,000 strikeouts, 300 wins, that kind of stuff.
Which is why Felix should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, and maybe more people have joined that party because obviously he had a massive uproar in his support this last go around. I mean, DeGrom.
Look at how many wins he has.
Well, you know how I feel about this.
I know. I mean, but it's just like for the old mindset, like myself. When someone had asked me this question, I looked it up and I was like, he only has that many?
Yeah, DeGrom is 98 and 66 for his career.
You know, so, and the old standard again was 300 wins. If you get 300 wins, you're a Hall of Famer.
Pitch outside as Collins steps in. Alex Hoppe is warming up in the Mariners bullpen. Can confirm, thanks to friend of the broadcast, the great Tyler Kepner.
The catch is challenging the ball call.
Posada was a one and done on the ballot.
Wow.
How about that?
That's just not even fair.
Call's confirmed. Seattle has one challenge remaining.
And think, Jorge had what, 5 rings?
And that's right. Some people would say, well, that's a team accomplishment.
Right.
Now, other people would say he's a fairly integral part of that team.
Yes. Kind of the core 4, as they describe it.
Julio cutting across, racing to his left, angling back, and he can't get there. It's off the base of the wall. Caglione hits third base, is coming home. Here's the throw to the plate. The tag, no, it's not made. It's off of the glove of Pareda, who gets spilled to the ground. Caglione scores, and the Royals add on.
Well, this ball, it looked like Julio had a good chance to run this one down, but it just continues to carry as it goes out there into right center field. Julio plays it perfectly off the wall, gets it off a strong throw to Young. Unable to finish it off at home.
A 2-out walk comes around to score.
Another tough play for Pareda on the short hop there.
Here's Michael Massey. Rolled over foul, 0-2. Well, Dan would love to see Castillo be able to get through 6. He's at 100 pitches. By the way, to put a bow on it, Tyler Kepner also giving us this good nugget that Bill Mazeroski has the lowest on base percentage of any Hall of Famer at .299. Salvador Perez and even .300 entering play today. Swing and a miss for strike 3. Massey strikes out. A run comes in for the Royals in the 6th. Tyler, thanks for tuning in. To the bottom of the 6th we go. Royals have a 3-run lead. Well, the Vetter Cup returns to Seattle May 15th to the 17th. You won't want to miss out on this star-studded matchup. Fernando Tatis Jr. and the Padres face off against Julio and the Mariners. Mariners.com/Vetter to get your tickets. First pitch up to Josh Naylor. Two 2-0 on the Mariners first baseman. Bubic approaching 80 pitches, I should say. He's been fairly efficient so far. This ball plugged out towards the alleyway in right center field. It touches down for a base hit. Caglione gets to it and holds Naylor to a single. Mariners trying to chip away at this thing as the 6th inning gets going.
Naylor off the left-hander. Stays on this pitch a little bit on the inside part of the plate. And pumps it out there into the right center field gap. Ham's looking to get something going here in the bottom of the 6th.
Weak wave and a miss from Randy. Mariners just 4 hits so far. And they have all been singles. One of them a bunt base hit. Randy ahead. Mariners trying to create some opportunities. 0 for 2 with runners in scoring position today. Trying to string some hits together here in the 6th. Witt to his right. Sidearm sling on to first, and it's a double play. And it wipes away that leadoff single. 2 down all of a sudden. How about a message from Papa Murphy's?
Turn your kitchen into a fiesta with Papa Murphy's Taco Grande Pizza, loaded with chicken or beef. Don't miss out on the Taco Grande. Order now at papamurphys.com.
Here's J.P. Crawford. Right back up the middle, and Witt was shaded that way. Right place, right time, and what looked like was going to be a base hit into center gets cut off by the Gold Glover, Bobby Witt Jr.
Let's go places.
Today's Northwest Chevy Silverado drive of the game. Well, it's our 1 RBI base hit in this game. Isaac Collins, a run scoring double. 4-1 Kansas City. Alex Hoppe has the 7th. Made his major league debut on the road trip. Struck out the first 3 batters that he faced.
Hoppe's appeared in 2 games, going 2 2/3 innings, giving up 3 earned runs.
Luis Castillo going 6th today. 4 runs. Obviously not much support for Luis Castillo, but this was a step in the right direction, it felt like, for Luis.
Oh, compared to what we have seen so far from Luis, he had a much better fastball here this afternoon, working ahead early in the game until that 1 inning back in the 4th where he gave up 3.
Yeah, and even the 4th inning, it wasn't like it was a rocket show against Castillo. It was a couple of singles, a hit batter, a bases loaded walk, RBI fielder's choice. It was kind of death by 1,000 paper cuts type of feeling as Isbell greets Hoppe to the game with his 2nd hit. One of the tough things for the Mariners this year, Val, is they just have not been able to generate any type of prolonged stretch, right? They had that 4-game homestand where they swept the Astros, which felt so great for so many reasons. Their first sweep of the year, and to do it against the division opponent was even greater. But then the Mariners, after that win on the road, they were swept at San Diego. Overall, after that 4-game sweep, they lost 6 of 9. They were nearly swept by the A's, but they salvaged that series to finish up the previous homestand. So the Mariners are kind of licking their wounds a little bit as they go out on the road. And what do? They have a great Midwest road trip. They go 5-1. They sweep the St. Louis Cardinals over the weekend at Busch Stadium. They take the series at Minnesota, winning 2 out of 3. And you're feeling good. You just went 5-1 on the road. And then you come home, and now you're trying to avoid being swept by Kansas City here. Big bounces over to J.P. Crawford. Underhand flip over to first. It's not in time. Garcia is safe. They get the lead runner Isbell at 2nd.
It certainly has been a bit of a roller coaster for the Mariners. I think it's just been the inconsistency of the offense, right? Day in and day out. Tough to get things going. But again, we're only past the first month.
Sure.
You know, after the kind of the 40-game mark, you kind of start to get a feel for who the ball club is, what the pitching staff is looking like. And we're just really starting to see the middle part of this lineup offensively having some impact. Cal, 5 home runs in his last 10 games. That's why it's such a big hole for this club to try to fill that. Julio's swinging the bat really well right now. Naylor's gotten hot.
They're eagerly anticipating the arrival of Brendan Donovan off the injured list. Hopefully that can come sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I talked to Brendan yesterday about the injury, and he said he's feeling really good. He's been doing a lot of running drills prior to batting practice. He feels like he should be going down for a rehab assignment fairly soon, which is great news, as you mentioned.
Mariners will host the Braves next, coming in tomorrow. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday the Mariners off, and then it's onto the road. They will have the White Sox and the Astros. 3 games on the south side, 4 in Houston. And hopefully Donovan can rejoin the club at some point on that road trip. 2-2. One out, one on. Witt stings this foul.
Bobby's dad was a great teammate of mine, one of my favorite teammates back.
Is that right?
Back in Texas. Yeah, we lived on the same street. Bobby was not yet born at that time.
Swing and a miss. 98 on the fastball, and Hoppy punches out Bobby Witt Jr. 2 down. Braves coming to town beginning tomorrow. Logan Gilbert on the mound. J.R. Ritchie, the pride of Bainbridge Island, will be going in his boyhood ballpark. Man, that'll be very special. Kirby and then Woo in games 2 and 3. Day baseball on Wednesday. Here's Pasquantino. In no other sport do people talk about a player as a great teammate like they do in baseball. What makes a great teammate in the majors?
So let's start off with imagining that you're going to have to be with somebody every single day for about 7 months,
yeah,
including spring training.
Yeah.
You know, you get to know everybody intimately. You're walking around the locker room in your underwear. I mean, there's nothing to hide. Like, you're just together all the time. You're showering together. I mean, think about.
We're really taking a turn here, right?
But it's the truth. You know, you're just with them all the time. You're eating together before the games. You're eating after the games.
I like where this is going. Yep.
You're flying on the plane. So you're just with somebody every single day.
It's an arranged marriage.
Yes. So if you kind of clash, it's not so much fun. You know, but then you're going to have guys, and that's why, you know, people talk about chemistry and, oh, this guy is an energy guy. This is a guy that, man, you just love to have him in your locker room. We mentioned Nelly Cruz earlier in the day. Always positive, always believing in the process. Hey, get your work done, be prepared. We're at 7:05. So all of those things kind of come into play with relationships. You know, even though it's another guy, but, you know, just think about if you're married, right? You're with each other every single day. Every once in a while, you need a weekend.
I understand. Julio makes the catch to retire the side. Yeah, there we go. Find a fan out there in the J-Rod squad. All right, we will keep it right here for God Bless America. And I wouldn't mind having a weekend with you, Val.
I mean a weekend off.
Away from
you.
Away from you.
Take me out to the ball game this afternoon. We ask you to please rise if you're able and direct your attention to the area behind home plate to sing God Bless America. Please welcome John B. Cooper.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her with a light from the night of above. From the mountains to the prairies to the oceans wide with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
Mariners TV is brought to you by the Washington Lottery. Washington's Lottery helps fund the Washington Grant. Free money for college training or apprenticeships. Yeah, roof wide open today. A gorgeous Sunday afternoon at the ballpark. Royals in front 4-1 going to the last of the 7th. Chris Bubic on the mound today for Kansas City. And his first pitch strikes, 14 of them through 6 innings. He has been mixing it up a little bit, but he has been over the plate with those first pitches. And it's not exactly been a strength of his so far this year, but it has been today. First pitch strike to Cole Young. There is activity up in the bullpen. John Schreiber, you can see up on the big board. He is getting loose.
Yeah, Bubic in his last 3 starts had walked 10 batters. So he's a little different than what we expected here this afternoon. Giving up only 4 hits.
All singles too. No damage today by the Mariners. You wonder as well what the back end of this Royals bullpen looks like. Matt Strahm, a leverage lefty, he has worked back-to-back games. Lucas Ursig, who's been closing for them recently, he has also worked back-to-back. Ursig may be down. Does he go? Yes, he does. And Cole Young strikes out to begin the home 7th.
Big sweeper right here. He gets Cole out in front and unable to hold up.
Outside of that outside of that 3rd inning, it's been a pretty smooth sailing from then on out. Well, this helps Bubic. A soft fly ball into shallow center field. Isbell. 2 outs. 2 up and 2 down. Now the bullpen for the Royals has not been good this season. It's been among the very worst in baseball. One of the highest ERAs, one of the highest walk rates, the fewest first pitch strikes of any bullpen. They've given up a lot of home runs, 26th in home runs per 9. And yet the Royals have won back-to-back 1-run games in this series.
Yeah, that bullpen's kind of turned it around over the last 6 wins. They're 6-2 in their last 8 games, and that pen is just 1.23 ERA during that time.
Calls overturned. Kansas City has 2 challenges remaining.
Now Jensen wins that challenge. 0-1 to Pareda, making his Mariners debut today. And bounces in, finds the backstop. Bubic has gone 7 innings just 1 time this year. That was back in early April against the White Sox. He went 7 scoreless. Just 2 hits and 11 strikeouts against Chicago. Let's call a strike off the plate. Mariners have 1 challenge left. Broken bat off the hands. It flattens out for Witt. And Bubic spins 7. Very strong innings today. Just 1 run allowed. He has really had the Mariners number. After 7, Royals lead it 4-1. Mariners TV is brought to you by Washington Trust Bank, privately owned and locally invested since 1902. And by Northwest Buick GMC. See your Northwest GMC dealer today. Mariners trailing as we open up the 8th inning inside T-Mobile Park. Cole Wilcox takes over. A 98-mile-an-hour fastball makes it 0-1. Muckleshoot Casino Resort pin report on Cole Wilcox. Making his 11th appearance, was called up from the minors very early on this season. I had 0-2. He's got some good stuff. There's no question about that. Power fastball and that slider.
I think for young pitchers, especially guys coming out of the bullpen, it's tough to work sparingly and kind of get into a groove out there.
Well, boy, it's kind of felt like that kind of series at times, hasn't it? It just has not been clean baseball for the Mariners. It's an error on J.P. Crawford. What looked like a sure out number 1. Perez is aboard. All right, so we were talking about Sal and if he would be in the Hall of Fame one day. This is by Baseball Reference's wins above replacement as Salvador gets a pinch run for. We're looking at the lowest career WAR by Hall of Famers debuting after 1950. So some somewhat more recent players. And Bill Mazeroski, who we talked about, he has the lowest on-base percentage of any player in the Hall of Fame at .299. Baines, a more recent inductee. Parker, Oliva, and one of the great base stealers of all time, Lou Brock. By Baseball Reference's wins above replacement, the number I was using earlier was Fangraphs. Salvador Perez is almost 36, so he is neck and neck with Mazeroski. Pretty close to it. So, you know, it's a fun conversation. I think there are a lot of people who, when you watch the totality of his career for a decade and a half, you say that's what a Hall of Famer looks like. And then there are other people who will just look at the numbers, whether they be more traditional like on base or more advanced like wins above replacement, and say, well, there's no chance. And there aren't many people at all represented in the Hall of Fame with numbers like that. So it'll be an interesting debate and conversation when Salvador Perez's time comes on the ballot.
So how many catchers are in the Hall of Fame?
Ooh.
Kind of going back to the big Hall, small Hall thing, right? And I just look back and, okay, baseball, Major League Baseball has been around for 150 years. Like, what does it take? What threshold is there? Like, yes, you may not have like the amazing numbers or the amazing wins above replacement, but you kind of fall into the top 20 catchers in all of history. Like, does that get you in? Or are we trying to compare, you know, Sal Perez to Willie Mays' numbers offensively?
Right.
And I think everyone has their own opinion. Maybe Tyler can text you. I'd like to hear what he thinks.
I'll move to first base. Tyler Kepner, who's one of the great baseball writers in the country, now with The Athletic, was chiming in earlier on this, giving us some good perspective on the whole thing.
Just a little side note as well. Bill Mazeroski was a coach for the Seattle Mariners. My first year in spring training, I was 18 years old, and Maz was the infield instructor for the Seattle Mariners.
How about that? Is that right?
Yeah.
I did not know that. Did you bring up his on-base percentage when you worked with him?
No, he was a big man. Big, like, gosh, he kind of reminded me like of a steel worker. His hands were just, you shake them and it felt like rocks. But he had that iconic moment. Was a great second baseman as well.
Here's Caglione. Ground ball, Young. A little flip. Crawford onto first, and it's not in time. And Dan Wilson will wait to hear about this. Will the Mariners challenge this?
This ball's not hit very hard. JP comes across the bag. Gets off a strong throw, but it looks like the runner beats it. Naylor putting a good stretch on it.
So runners on the corners, no challenge. Mazeroski, that great walk-off home run in Game 7 of the 1960 World Series. And by the way, Starling Marte running for Perez over at first base. At third base at this point, I beg your pardon. One and one.
Wilcox bringing the heat, 98 miles an hour fastball.
Pretty close on that top line. Yeah, right there. That's a strike. 2-1.
You think maybe Paredes a little hesitant?
Well, we know this. He obviously has worked with the ABS system in the minor league, so it's not that the technology is new. But I would ask you, right, if you're making your debut. Okay, you're making your debut with the big league team.
Yes, I would absolutely be thinking twice. In fact, there was even offensively when he was at the plate, there was a pitch earlier that I thought was miscalled, and I was waiting to see how he would react to that. Very natural, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
he did miss one earlier, which obviously everyone's missed one, but maybe it is underscored more when you're making your debut with that particular team. So the bases are loaded now. An error, 2 walks, and a fielder's choice in this inning.
Gives you an idea how quickly things can spiral. Wilcox makes a nice pitch. Slow ground ball to the backhand of JP. He's unable to pick it up.
Here's Massey. Bases loaded, 1 out. Ripped down the line and foul.
Wilcox looking for that ground ball to end the inning. For a double play, of course.
Ground ball can get him out of the inning right here. Ground ball. Foul.
Looked like Josh, if this play was made, it was going to come towards home. Take a look at his reaction right here. Looked like he was trying to make the transfer to the throwing hand, but ball ended up being foul and he was unable to make the transfer.
Line drive. J.P. Crawford makes the play. A throw and a second. They get 2. Wow. What a double play. J.P. Crawford getting it started.
Opening.
How about this double play started by J.P. Crawford?
Little soft line drive. JP times it perfectly, catches it right at the top of his jump. And Cole Young coming across the bag and makes the play.
Bubic is done for the day. 7 strikeouts. Only one of them over the plate. You got some good chase in this one. The lefty starting pitcher is out. Leo Rivas greets the new man. And it's John Schreiber. Final line for Bubic, just 4 hits, all singles, 1 run over 7 with 7 strikeouts.
Solid outing right there for the left-hander. Schreiber's appeared in 13 games, got 11 2/3 innings, 6 earned runs to go along with 5 strikeouts and 7 walks.
And that looked like a strike. Let's find out. ABS powered by T-Mobile. It was a strike.
Call's overturned. Kansas City has 2 challenges ready.
Royals perfect on the day. Two and 2. Top of the order is next. Ground ball right over the mound, and Mariners were maybe hoping that was going to plunk off a second base, but it does not. Rivas is out, and Dan Wilson goes to his bench with the righty on the mound. It's the left-handed bat of Dom Canzone to bat for Ref Snyder. And a quick visit out to the mound. Going back to that ABS challenge from Jensen behind the plate, I think this is an adjustment both for catchers and for home plate umpires this year. The strike zone now changes with every batter, right? Every hitter was precisely laser measured this year in spring training, and the ABS strike zone is tailored for each individual based on their height. So Altuve's strike zone and Judge's strike zone are very different to an exact degree, and I think it's going to take a while for everybody involved to really get a perfect feel for that.
It kind of was the same thing though before, right? So an umpire's making their judgment call based on their perception. They see Aaron Judge, they see Altuve, and for the catchers as well. You make that adjustment automatically when that specific hitter steps into the box. So your brain is kind of calculating where Judge's top of the zone is, where that bottom of the zone is. Now, I'm not saying it's easy.
Sure.
But it is something that just visually you get that feel when you're squatting back there who the hitter is.
Well, and you're right. It's always been that way, but now it's
precise.
It's precise. Yes. And also, I mean, you think about it, you could have a guy who's maybe not as tall but is more upright in their stance, a guy who is taller but gets into his legs more. So in that, the
crouch,
the perception of it, I would imagine, could look different than what it actually is.
And the part that makes it hard is the movement of the ball, right? So you have the majority of the movement of every pitch at the very end. So your mind is going, okay, did it go through the strike zone before I caught it? Because there's a heavy sinker, and I'm catching it almost at the bottom of the ground. But because of the movement, did it come through the zone before I actually catch it? Because the catcher's basically receiving the ball 2 to 3 feet behind home plate.
And the strike zone is different this year also. The front of the strike zone is no longer the front of the plate. It's the middle of the plate. That's a big adjustment as well on certain pitch types, especially those big sweepers, big breaking balls. Then you want to just maybe clip the bottom of the zone.
And as we've seen from the ABS system just today, we're talking about barely clipping it, ends up getting the call.
That's all it takes as Dom Canzone draws a pinch hit walk. The Mariners running out of time in this one. One out, bottom of the 8th. And they've got the big bats coming up here in the 8th inning against Schreiber. Here is Julio. Hard hit grounder off the mound. Massey able to make the play. Witt steps on second, and they don't have it in first base in time. Julio is able to survive. That's a pretty nice looking play over there at second base on a ball that was hit hard.
Yeah, Julio hits his ball right on the button, but a fantastic play. It goes right underneath Schreiber. So he didn't actually see that till he gets past him. Tough hop, Bobby Witt Jr. coming across to finish it off.
Potrero is on his way out. And that is it for Schreiber. We've got a pitching change. Lefty bat Josh Naylor is due up next. We'll step aside.
In the USA.
Mariners TV is brought to you by the Wells Fargo Active Cash Credit Card. Earn unlimited 2% cash rewards on purchases. Terms apply. Daniel Lynch, lefty, takes over facing Naylor. Julio at first base. Lynch very tough on lefties.
Lynch making his 13th appearance here this season, giving up only 3 runs.
A big swing and a miss from Naylor. Lynch has given up just 2 hits left on left this year, and none have been for extra bases. And Naylor's challenging this.
Batter's challenging the strike call.
That's very much a strike.
Confirmed. Seattle's out of challenge.
So no more challenges for the Mariners now here in the 8th inning with 2 outs. Mariners went 0 for 2 on challenges today. Naylor down on strikes, and that left on left move by Potrero pays off. Julio stranded 8 in the book, so the Mariners down by 3. We hope to see you at T-Mobile Park on Saturday, May 16th. The Mariners celebrate Salute to Armed Forces Night as part of the festivities. The first 10,000 fans will receive this special Army Green Mariners cap thanks to Boeing. Mariners.com/tickets. What an exciting moment right here. Nick Davila making his major league debut, just recently called up to Seattle. Pitching here in the 9th inning with the Mariners trailing 4-1 to the Royals.
Well, congratulations to Nick. It's a special accomplishment. Anytime, anywhere you make that first appearance, it is something so special. After all the thousands and thousands of hours that you have put in.
27 years old, a native of Florida. 6 minor league seasons prior to his promotion. When undrafted out of the University of South Florida, now that was in the 2020 season, so a much abbreviated draft. He joined the Tigers organization. He was there for a couple of years to begin his pro ball career, then came to the Mariners. 3-0. A walk to Isbell to begin things here in the 9th. He pitched at 3 levels his first year in the Mariners system. That was back in 2023. He was from single A all the way up to triple A Tacoma. He's been most of the year that year with the Aqua Sox, working primarily with Everett as a starting pitcher that particular season. Just trying to get one over the plate here. Get his day going. Here is Garcia. He threw a ton of breaking balls this year in Double A, about 70% breaking balls, in fact. He wants a new baseball. Hard slider, big curveball as well. Good sinker to go along with it. There's a strike. A 4-seamer at 95.
Just hearing those numbers, it just gives you an idea of how the game has changed as far as pitching strategy, percentage of pitches that you use.
Davila joining the club with Matt Brash going on the injured list. .96 that time. Yeah, the idea of 70% spin back in the day probably wasn't.
You're going to hurt your arm. You're going to hurt your arms, kids. Too many breaking balls.
There's one pitch away from his first big league strikeout. Here comes a 2-2. Fly ball straight away center field. Julio comes in. One away. Now facing Bobby Witt Jr. There's a good looking breaking ball. Strike one. In the driver's seat now, no balls and 2 strikes. His 0-2 pitch. He struck him out. Oh, congratulations. Nick Davila, his first strikeout in the major leagues. He punches out Bobby Witt Jr. What a moment.
It's a very special moment for this young man right here to get one of the best players in the game in your memory bank of that first time that you struck someone out in the major leagues.
So cool. One of the best moments in his life we just witnessed. Here is Pasquantino. A debut is special for everyone, whether you're the top prospect or you go undrafted. But man, for guys like this, where you're 27 years old this year and you're in Double-A, and you probably feel like the big leagues is a long way away. Pasquantino, a high skyscraping fly ball into the crowd, foul, 0-2. Not to make a judgment that it means more to some people than others, because it means so much to everybody. But man, for some guys, you can't help but relish in a moment for a player like this.
When you think about the different journeys that every single player on this field has taken to get to this level, is always a special one. Whenever I had a young pitcher making their debut, I would always, after warming them up, would run out there and I would tell them, turn around and take a look. Take this all in. You've earned it. Enjoy it. Just to have that one little breather. Plus, you know, just kind of slow their heart down. that helped too.
Well, the Mariners want to challenge this play at first base.
Seattle is challenging
Naylor
the same
does that
call
little
at first
step
base.
back. You have something. It's awfully close. It's hard to see from that angle when Naylor's glove actually hit the right hip. This might give us a better look, showing that different angle.
Very close. That pinky might have been over the bag when that tag was applied. Not sure.
Yeah, look, because it looks like it's the pinky that hits the back side of the bag. If that's the case, they may have a case.
Very close. Don't call me Supermo. Wow. All right. Looks like New York has made it.
After review, the call on the field stands. The runner is safe. Seattle will lose their challenge.
That was a tough one.
Isbell remains at first. Randy was pretty convinced that he was out, I guess. making his way back. So 0-2 on Pasquantino. Here it comes. On a 1-2. Line drive, left field towards the alleyway. Julio gets there to cut it off. And the Royals have it first and third. No, they're throwing. They're coming home. The throw into second. Play at the plate. Tag in. Out at home. Isbell is out at home plate. The throw into second, and they waved him home. And he's cut down at the dish. We will take another look at it on the other side. No challenge from the Royals. All right, back to this sequence here that ended the top of the ninth, Val.
Well, what makes this play right here is the hustle of Julio Rodriguez. He gets over to that left center field gap, gets rid of it very quickly to second base. Now their third base coach, as soon as he saw the ball go to second, he said, you know what, I'm going to take it. I'm going to take a chance right here and send him home. Cole Young was actually a little bit surprised that he was taking off as well. But Cole making it a strong throw, accurate, enough to nail them. Watch how quickly Julio gets there, sets his feet, and gets off a really strong throw to second base. I mean, that's max effort right there.
Randy does not go. Well, the Mariners down to their final 3 outs, trailing by 3 runs, and Julio helping to keep it no more than the deficit it currently is. Could have been worse. Now, we mentioned earlier that the Royals bullpen is a little taxed. Both Ursig and Strom have worked back-to-back. So Lynch, who for his career has just 2 saves in his 6 major league seasons combined, is up on the mound here in the 9th inning, trying to get the final 3 outs. This is popped up into the crowd, and Randy survives to see at least one more pitch. Fouled back. 97 that time. Lynch rushing it in there. Strike 3 called. Very bottom of the zone. Randy caught looking. 1 away.
Lynch comes right back. Little slider down and in, perfectly located. Gets the Rosarena frozen.
And this pocket works out well for the Royals to go to Lynch here. Randy was the only righty bat. Now you've got lefties in Crawford and Cole Young. And you can see what that looked like to JP bending back at a pitch over the plate. Left on left here. On the ground at Pasquantino, and the Mariners are now down to their final out. The Royals have not swept the Mariners since July of 2017. The Mariners have played Kansas City so well from that point until now, but things looking ominous for the Mariners today, to say the least. A couple of 1-run losses the first 2 games of this series, and a gut punch of a loss last night with the pitching performance that the Mariners received from Emerson Hancock.
Yeah, that game last night hurt with the excellent job that Emerson Hancock had. Best game of his career so far. It was just a shame to let that one slip out of their hands.
Mariners will be in Kansas City not long from now. And then they'll be done with the Royals for the rest of the season. 1-2. Cole Young strikes out, and the Royals come to Seattle and they sweep the Mariners. And quite frankly, just not good baseball played by the Mariners, with a few exceptions over these last 3 games.
And the Royals, who started off slow, are starting to find their groove here in Seattle. But today I thought Bubic was just a little bit too much for the Mariners offense. He ended up giving up only 4 hits, all singles, 7 strikeouts, and M's could not get anything going.
And they get swept. They'll try to regroup tomorrow. The Braves come to town. Royals win it 4-1. Mariners postgame begins in 90 seconds.